In a moment of honesty, are you a little bit stunned that we are sitting here talking about Indiana as the national champions?
Yeah, I mean, well, okay, so I'll say it like this. I'm not stunned in that I've been a massive Indiana advocate for the past 2 years. I thought they were awesome last year. I thought it was ridiculous, the narrative that started to develop around them, that they weren't actually that good, when like the two teams they lost to were the two best teams that played for the national championship. I chose them to win the championship at the beginning of this tournament. Every single game, so I'm not stunned recently, but how could you not be stunned if you look at the entirety of their history? I mean, it's the greatest college football story we've ever seen. It's one of the greatest sports stories that we've ever seen. Here's the losingest program in college football history that just capped off a 16-0 perfect national championship run, in which they went through Ohio State, they went through Alabama, they went through Oregon, they went through Miami, they went through all of the blue bloods, all of the old guard to get it done. I mean, you can find crazy stat after crazy stat. Probably the one that just came across my phone that blew my mind was they won 3 bowl games in the last month. They had won 3 bowl games in their entire school history previous to this. Like, before beating Bama in the Rose Bowl, their last bowl win was in the 1991 Copper Bowl. And here's what I want to say is that I like
Copper
to
Bowl.
I like to pontificate and be grandiose and look deep for meaning and whatnot. And how could you not be inspired by the story of the Indiana Hoosiers? And I don't mean just if like you're a football coach or a football fan, though definitely the hope effect is real. And they have now erased excuses for other schools. And although you may not have Curt Cignetti, you can at least try to be Curt Cignetti. And that's great, but it extends beyond football, right? What Indiana has taught us this year is don't let people define who you can be. Because society's going to tell you this is your ceiling, this is your limit, this is what you're good for, this is all you're capable of. And it's all too easy to sit back and accept that and say, okay, well, I can work my ass off. I'll never be Pat McAfee. I'll never be this. I'll never be that. Screw that, okay? What Indiana has shown you is you define yourself. And I'm not saying that you're going to go 16-0 and win a natty or whatever the relative equivalent would be in your life. What I am saying is there's no excuse not to go balls to the wall and to try and to do everything that you can, so that when you look in the mirror at the end of the day, you say, you know what? At least I didn't let somebody define me. I defined me. I gave it my all. And if we all did that, we would end up in a better spot than we are currently, even if it isn't with the ultimate storybook ending that Fernando Mendoza, Curt Cignetti, and the Indiana Hoosiers now have.
Well, it's the ultimate story of the American dream.
Yeah.
It's rags to riches. It doesn't matter where you came from. You can find yourselves at the mountaintop too. But I look at how Curt Cignetti did it. And there's so many ways in college football now that you can microwave success. You can invest just a boatload of money into a roster, get every 4 and 5 star across the country, get all of the transfers from Alabama and Georgia and Ohio State. But that's not how Curt Cignetti did it. He got transfers from JMU. He didn't have a single 5 star on the roster. He had Fernando Mendoza from Cal winning the Heisman Trophy. I know that college football is such a copycat sport. Can other coaches and other programs across the country replicate how Curt Cignetti turned Indiana into a national champion?
So I guess this kind of dovetails perfectly with what I was just talking about, where, like, again, I don't know that we're going to see somebody hit the heights that Cignetti has, because it's a perfect storm of a coach who's been in football his entire life but has never given the breaks, had to go earn those breaks, is a game planning genius, combined with getting that. Like Indiana was the ultimate whole is greater than the sum of its parts team. But to your point, we are, and this is what I love about college football right now, okay? We have literally seen the fabric of the game change under our feet. I mean, tectonic shifts in how you build rosters and how the game is constructed and played, are really constructed off the field to then play on the field. And what that means is these changes are so sweeping that nobody really knows what the best practices are, right? And each additional year that we get into this new era, we're figuring out, okay, well, maybe this is how should we like we're gathering data to say this is how we should approach things. And so, yes, I think there are massive lessons to be learned, not just from Cignetti, but even if you look at guys like Bob Chesney, what he did at JMU this year, what Sumrall did at Tulane, surviving all their roster turnover, making it to a college football playoff. I think you're seeing like you mentioned going and getting like one piece of data that I would say. You're mentioning going and getting like the 5 stars off of the Alabama and the Ohio States, the roster of these very talented guys that didn't play. A lot of people seem to be going the other way where they say, you know what? Instead, we're going to go with the guys from lower levels, but that have proven success. Instead of trying to bet on the potential, let's go get a guy who was an all-conference, all-American on the Division II level, right? Looking at Trinidad Chambliss, a champion and winner on the Division II level, and let's see if he can bring it up. And that seems to have paid a lot of dividends. So that's one of the things that I'm most excited for this offseason is to really try to get in the lab and parse through this new era and what have we learned through 2 years. And one thing that I learned that I think should be celebrated here, and it's a misconception in some ways. Everybody talks about how old Indiana was. Well, Miami's average starting age was older than that of Indiana. And if you look throughout this playoffs, it was veteran teams, one and all. And as much as we want to decry, or a lot of people, there's a lot of hand-wringing over NIL and the transfer portal, without a doubt, one silver lining benefit, in my opinion, has been talented football players staying in college because now they can get paid. They can continue to develop. I mean, you look at early entrants for this spring's NFL draft, I think it's like 40 right now, 40 underclassmen. A few years ago, it was 130. So players are able to now stick around, develop, get better, and it leads to high-quality football. And what was last night, if not a beautiful, high-quality football game? I mean, it's impossible for me to escape boxing metaphors when I think about a big football game. And people talk about the sweet science of boxing. Last night was the sweet science of football. Super high execution, ultimate physicality, guys putting their bodies on the line, great D-line play, great offensive line play, pounding the rock, big moments, big high leverage moments where guys had to come away with the play to be successful. It was just a fantastic game all around. And in part, that is due to this new NIL era where the quality of football gets better because the players get better because they can stick around longer.
So, T-Bob, I'm in love with the goober. I'm just going to announce this to the world because Fernando Mendoza may be a goober in the interviews, but my God, as a Raiders fan, when he dove into the end zone, that play, I screamed in the bar, that's my quarterback. I screamed it. What's my level of excitement allowed to be for the thought of Fernando Mendoza fixing my beloved Raiders?
Oh, dude, I would be ecstatic. I mean, what doesn't he have, right? He has the arm talent. Like, we've broken down film here on Wake Up Barstool. We do it every Friday with Mikey Kadick, and some of the throws, these out routes, like there's NFL throws all over the field. He has all of the intangibles. He's a leader of men. You heard him in the postgame last night, right? He said, I'm willing to die for my guys out there. They're willing to die for me, and that's why we're national champions. Like, guys will follow this dude into battle. You don't have to worry about him getting into trouble. He's going to study his ass off. Like, I think Fernando Mendoza, and he's giant, and he's athletic. So, like, I think he's a slam dunk number one pick. But I want to talk about the goober element here. Because I'm a massive nerd and I really enjoyed the new James Gunn Superman movie. And I think one of the basic theme of that movie applies to Mendoza so well, where the theme of this new Superman movie is essentially this idea that, like, you know, maybe sincerity and kindness, maybe that's the new punk rock. Like, maybe that's the new counterculture. And we live in this age, this day and age where everybody's so cynical and so fearful of being sincere, so fearful of being genuine or showing passion or excitement or nerding out about something or allowing themselves to not just be too cool for everything. And to me, Fernando Mendoza is the antithesis of the modern internet cynical too cool age in which we live. And so I am head over heels in love with the gooberish genuine sincerity that Fernando Mendoza displays every time that he speaks. I think he is the perfect antidote to the times in which we live, and I love to celebrate him for that.
He's so precious.
I know.
He is the cutie patootie of the year. I just want to give him a sweet little hug. He's just cute.
And
And then you watch him play and he's a dog.
and that's the thing, right? It's all of that sincerity and goodness and kindness, but he's killing you with a smile on his face. Because at the end of the day, that's a tough son of a bitch. I mean, look at last night. I mean, again, because them refs, shout out to the refs last night. They were letting them boys play. And they let Miami get in some shots. And even if the flag is thrown there, like when Mendoza gets busted under the chin, he's carrying out the fake, even if the flag is thrown there, I think that's a smart move by Miami. Like, let's hit this guy. Let's see what he can handle. And look, whether it was him getting rocked that first play of the Ohio State game, last night you saw his arm after the game, just one giant walking bruise his throwing arm was, diving into the end zone, running guys over. Like, to combine that toughness with that sincerity, that's where I think the leader of men, perfect alchemy is achieved.
Who does he remind you of? I keep getting Kirk Cousins comps for Fernando Mendoza, and I feel like that's partly because they both kind of have that very nerdy, sweet, goobery personality. But when you watch Fernando Mendoza play, who's a comp that comes to mind for you?
Yeah, I mean, I understand Cousins from the personality standpoint, though. I have talked to a bunch of Indiana, or I shouldn't say a bunch of Indiana guys. From what I understand, Fernando Mendoza does do a really good job of straddling the line where he can be such a good person, but like the boys still love him, and he can still kick back and have some beers with the boys. Which again, that's how you achieve leadership status. I'll cede to my old man here. So my old man played 15 years professional football. He knows the quarterback position inside and out, and he's been saying since week one that Fernando Mendoza reminds him of Jared Goff. And he was super high on Jared Goff coming out of college. Obviously, Jared Goff's gone on to be absolutely fantastic in the NFL. And so I would just say that that's the name that my dad has constantly brought up when talking about Mendoza.
Oh, my level of excitement is just through the roof. You do that to me, brother. Hey, we appreciate your time. Make sure you check him out. Obviously, you can hang out with him. Wake Up Barstool is where you can find him, and find him all over social media. It's always a delight when you join us, and we appreciate it. And for the next several months, I'm just going to be on one. So if you see somebody constantly in airports wearing a Mendoza jersey, I'm just going to find all of them. Thanks for the time, man. We appreciate it.
Yeah, no, look, I mean, and it looks like you got a franchise changer, man. Maybe so. It's exactly what the Raiders need. We'll see what the code's going to be. But yeah, thank y'all so much. Love y'all. Have a great day, guys.